What's up? Um, yeah. The date is Saturday, the 30th of October, 2021. It's Halloween weekend. Whoop whoop. As you can probably tell, I'm not out tonight. I'm gonna be out tomorrow night to going to a party. But yeah, it's been one of those days really, and I don't know. I think it hasn't been a bad day by any measure, but don't know. I don't know how straightforward to be. I'll be honest, but not necessarily being straightforward, which I think is always the best way. Last night I had a dream about somebody from my past who I regularly I forget for long periods of time. I used to think about them all the time. I used to think about them every day. In fact, I think for a long time there was never a day, perhaps never even a moment where I didn't think about them, or they weren't on my mind or in my consciousness or in my being. They were there every day, relentlessly, for years, I think. But then, you know how things go. Time, I think, does. I don't think necessarily time heals. I don't really believe that. I think time doesn't heal, but life can heal. And I think what healed me was just experience, distance, and experience. It wasn't necessarily the time frame. You know, my life became so filled by so many other powerful things that powerful thing just got swept away and put in a drawer. You know, buried in a time capsule, maybe, if you like metaphors. But a couple of times a year, I think, I will dream about this person. They will appear in a dream. And the day that follows always leaves me with them on my mind and kind of pulls the past back to my present. And that's a very sort of, on the one hand, it's a very poetic experience because, you know, as an artist, as someone who writes, I find that a good source of fuel, you know, creative fuel. That kind of sentimentality, that nostalgia, that memory of past pain. There's a distance, so it's not visceral pain. It's I remember feeling a lot of pain about this, and there's an element of self pity as well because, you know, I have a tendency to look at my past selves, if such a thing exists, but I think it sort of does. I think of my younger selves, my past selves, and I reflect on the pain that they experienced and the things they went through. And I can't help but feel pity for them. I know that they are me, or that, you know, we're the same person, but we're not really, you know, and I think about those past pains, and I think I just have a natural sort of empathetic reaction as if somebody was telling me that they were going through that, and I would feel for them and I would want to help them. But obviously it's weird because it's a past version of me and it's said and done, and I can't go back and help my past self, but obviously, you know, you can always help your present self, and that's got to count for something. But I found myself, yeah, remembering a long since past time, and and being filled with a kind of doubt, I think. I think that's, for me, the past has that sort of power. You can be coasting, you could even be flying, you can be just chilling through life, which is a very lucky thing to experience. And I've been very lucky to experience that pretty much since the beginning of the summer. You know, just kind of coasting, really. Not really having any responsibility, having money in the bank, life opened up. I could pretty much do whatever I wanted and see whoever I wanted whenever I wanted. I was free. And so I just enjoyed that and became very used to that. But then having an experience like this where the memory of your past comes back to your present and fills your mind and fills your heart as well. Like it sort of attaches itself back to your heart again for a time. And you sort of have to deal with that. You have to go through that. And that happened today. In a sense, it's still happening. In a sense, it's always happening. If you know what I mean. In a sense, you're always having to deal with your past, whether you know it or not. Because your past, obviously, has led you to the present. And you have to deal with the present. And if the present is the result of the past, you're dealing with the past all the time. You know. But I think it often doesn't feel like that. You know, I think often we can get, not lost, but comfortable in the manner of being in which we think only of the present and of the future. And we ignore the past. Consciously, we ignore the past. And then occasionally something will happen, or you'll be reminded of something, or you'll see somebody again, or, you know, you'll listen to a certain song, or look at a painting, or have a dream. And the fact of the past it comes back. And then there you are. But I think it's a good experience because it makes you pay more attention, I think. Like having this dream has definitely made me more present. It's kind of forced me to stop and kind of think. And if you're, in a sense, if you're lucky enough to have a life where you're busy and you have a lot to do, then, perhaps a negative thing that comes about as a result of that is that you don't give yourself and you don't have enough time to just sit and be still and to sort of reminisce, not nostalgically reminisce, but, just reminisce and take stock and appreciate and continually process your past, which again is something that I think we all are doing anyway, but not knowingly. And I think it's the not knowing, it's the lack of a conscious processing of your past that really ruins a lot of people. It kills people. It hurts people. It robs people. And even though I'm somebody who likes to think that, they're always doing that. I'm really not. I get an awful lot wrong, and I'm always searching for what's right. And part of me thinks that with this person that I dreamed of last night, that in a way, even though it was very naive and very delusionally romantic, one might say, that's why I use the word perhaps, that in spite of that, that was the closest I've ever come, and perhaps ever will come, to it. With this person, I really found something. Or at least it felt like it. Which I think is probably more true. But then again, I don't know if that's fair to sort of disqualify it like that. Who knows, really? But at the time, and even these years later, I look back and I remember, and I still feel the potency of that experience, of those experiences, so viscerally, so directly. So magically that I can't help but wonder and sometimes even conclude that was it. And I don't know whether this is me, retrospectively projecting onto a memory, but it's almost like not it's almost like I remember it. I remember the feeling, and part of me wishes that I had actually dissolved in that moment, in those moments, in one of those moments. If in one of those moments, maybe the last moment, that I had, that I am Jonas, I'm called Jonas, that whatever I is, dissolved into that experience and was gone. Because in a way, I am gone. We're all gone, But sometimes when I have dreams of this person, the following day I'm always left with this feeling that my life in a way did end then, and I've been living this kind of sort of post-existence. And that's not to say it's not been good. I think there's been so much good since then, but perhaps it's the after party And to conclude, I'm going to leave you with the ending of one of my favourite books, one of my favourite book series, which I read for the first time when I was a kid. And for spoiler's sake, it's the ending of the Darren Shan vampire series. I think it's the last scene of the series. So I'm just going to go get the book. Somebody's just texted me asking to go out. Who knows? It is Halloween weekend after all. But yeah, I'm just going to read the last paragraph of this book. Now, actually, I'm going to read the last few paragraphs for context. My robes sag as the body beneath loses the ability to support them. Atoms rise from me like steam, thin tendrils at first, then a steady stream of shafts, which are all the colours of the rainbow. My soul departing from every area of my body at once. The tendrils wrap around one another and shoot upwards, bound for the stars and realms beyond. There's almost nothing left of me now. The robes collapse in on themselves completely. The last traces of my spirit hover above the robes and the roof. I think of my family, Debbie, Mr. Crepsley, Steve, Mr. Tiny, all those I've known, loved, feared, and hated. My last thought, oddly, is of Madame Octa. I wonder if they have I wonder if they have spiders in paradise. And now it's over. I'm finished with this world. My final few atoms rise at a speed faster than light, leaving the roof, the theatre, the town, the world far, far behind. I'm heading for a new universe, new adventures, a new way of being. Farewell, world. Goodbye, Darren Shan. So long, old friends and allies. This is it. The stars draw me towards them. Explosions of space and time. Breaking through the barriers of the old reality. Coming apart. Coming together. Moving on. A breath on the lips of the universe. All things, all worlds, all lives. Everything at once and never. Mr. Crepsley waiting. Laughter in the great beyond. I'm going. I'm going. I'm gone. If only destiny had spared me.